Hello all my Kenvians, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Steven Universe. And, I don't know if you noticed, but I finally got my Steven Universe t-shirt! Yay! Now I stretched it out, it's gonna look like I have nipples, and that's weird. I do have nipples. I'm a human being. That's awkward. Anyway, continuing on. Today's episode I'm going to be talking about is Steven's Lion, which I did not realize it was a pun, but the pun was used at least twice in the episode, so I liked that. Yeah. This was an interesting episode, and, well, this is another one of those where I'm basically recording this right after watching the episode, so I don't have anything listed out, but I will do my best to keep everything in mind as best as possible. Now, starting with my first favorite part of this episode, it has to be the lion itself. It's got a very interesting design, one that I can't help but feel like is, well, I'm sure it's intended, but it's obviously not a normal lion, and by that, I mean, obviously it's not a normal lion, it has special powers, but it's, like, its body structure. I can't help but feel like maybe it's from outer space, or maybe even, I don't know, I mean, the crystal gems fight all these different monsters that are, in fact, these different, enchanted gems, or something along those lines. Rogue gems, I guess, maybe. So I can't help but wonder whether or not the lion might be, like, you know, one of the jewels out there. It's like a rogue gem. I'm not making much sense right now, am I? But it's one of those, but it's one that's actually one of the good guys, as opposed to a monster that just destroys everything. So, I don't know, there's certain aspects about the character that intrigue me, and by the fact that the gems are going to let Steven keep it, at the end of the episode, I can only assume it's going to reappear in future episodes. So yeah, my first favorite part is definitely the lion itself for a variety of strange reasons. Now, my second favorite part of this episode has to be the, what do they call it, the desert glass? But yeah, the glass that was on top of the pillow. And just the powers that went along with it. Now, in most cases, when it's come to these different evil crystals or whatever, they have been sort of sentient monsters in a sense. They've been creatures that eat and attack. It's like they have their own mind. Whereas the desert glass seemed to be more of, I don't even know how to describe it really. It didn't have any real sense of self other than it was trying to protect itself from damage. Because, as we see, when Steven throws it out onto the beach, it starts covering itself in the stone or bricks, or whatever it is that it uses. So I'm intrigued as to what that is exactly. I would really like some more information on what all these different creatures are, and I don't know if that's something that will be explained through the show, or if it's something that is kind of theorized and maybe will appear on some of the wikis. Since I'm still so early in the show, I haven't really gone to any of the wikis other than just grabbing a synopsis for the YouTube video description. But yeah, I'm really curious to find out more about those creatures and why, despite being from crystals or from gems like the crystal gems are, that they act so differently, that they are these monstrous creatures or rogue artificial intelligence, seemingly, as opposed to these, you know, people, essentially. These crystal gems that form themselves into people. Very powerful, supernatural people, but in my eyes, people all the same. But okay, moving on from there, my third favorite part of this episode has to be the conflict between Pearl and Garnet. I keep getting the names wrong. Pearl and Amethyst. I keep getting Amethyst and Garnet's names mixed up for some reason. But yeah, it seems like the interactions between the two have become more and more spiteful in a way. Or it could just be my imagination, but it definitely seems that way, whereas both Pearl and Amethyst have this sort of respect for Garnet. They definitely butt heads a lot. And actually, now that I think about it, back in the previous episode, Tiger Millionaire, Amethyst and Garnet apologize to each other, but Amethyst and Pearl don't. So I wonder if maybe there's some drawn over feelings, or if it kind of goes beyond any conflict that Amethyst and Garnet might have had. Although I do have to say, the line that Garnet says at the end of the episode when Pearl asks whether they're going to let Steven keep the lion, Garnet says, "We kept Amethyst." And but Pearl, first of all, Pearl's reaction was hilarious and awkward as crap. But yeah, so that's my third favorite part, and that's a weird one to mention, I admit, but it seems like they're progressing in plot in that direction, that they're sort of building up this conflict between Pearl and Amethyst. Whether it escalates to anything major, I don't know. But I feel like it's going to be part of the plot going down the line. So, yeah, there you go. And then, like, a little side honorable mention, I guess, when Onion, or Onion Boy, whatever his name is, gives, like, the death stare to Steven after they think that he was lying about the lion. That, like, especially the music sting that they used right there was really weird. And I know that people in the comments have said that there's something about Onion Boy or Onion that I guess I'll figure out farther down the line. That was really strange and random. That, everyone else was disappointed in him, but then all of a sudden this Onion Boy is just like, death stare. So I don't know. I guess something may come of that later. But moving on from there, my annoyances with the episode. And I think there is one overall that really just bothers me. And it's a nitpick on my part, but it was kind of boring. Now, losing my train of thought here. Basically, whereas the previous episodes, they had this sort of momentum to them. Like, it kept feeling like the episodes were just getting better and better, even if the episodes weren't consistently as good as each other, or like the next one wasn't necessarily as good. This one felt strangely really slow to me. Until we reached the end part where Steven throws the glass onto the sand. Like, up until that point, everything just seemed really, again, just really slow, and it didn't really hold my interest. It's like, yeah, the lion is cool, and the little spats back and forth between Amethyst and Pearl were kind of funny, but other than that, it just, I don't know, it seemed, well, to repeat myself again, slow. Maybe even kind of lazy. Now, that's just my personal perspective, and that's really the only annoyance I had with this episode, but it's a pretty significant one, in my opinion. But before I get into my overall thoughts on the episode, there were a few pretty good quotes in this episode, and obviously it's hard for me to remember them since I did not write them down. But I think probably my favorite one from the episode, again, I'll probably have to paraphrase here. I actually mentioned it already, but it's the line when Garnet says, "We kept Amethyst." Just sort of that, it's a side jab, obviously, and a bit of a joke there, but it brings to mind some questions for me. Like, first of all, does even Garnet have sort of that, conflict with Amethyst? Not on the same level as Pearl, but is there just this sort of, I don't know, seeing Amethyst as beneath them in a way? And even, I don't know, perhaps I'm just thinking or thinking too deeply on this, but it feels like there's so many different little tiny plot elements that get thrown around here or there. I would almost be doing the show a disservice to not overanalyze certain things. So yeah, I don't know if, it was just a simple little side comment that I found particularly funny, or if maybe there was some deeper meaning to it overall. But yeah, so I guess that's the quote of the episode. I'll do my best to actually write them down as I'm watching from here on out so that I can actually remember what my quote of the episode is. Now, as for my overall thoughts, it was really kind of reflected in my annoyances, and that is, while it definitely had some cool elements, especially like the last portion during the conflict and Steven and the lion are going after the desert glass, the rest of it just felt really boring to me, strangely. I don't know if that's a fault of the episode itself, or maybe I was just in a strange mood while watching it, I don't know. But I am certainly intrigued to find out what your all's thoughts might be on this episode, especially those of you that love this show, have been watching it for a while. I really want to know what you think about this particular episode, and whether I'm just being a fuddy-duddy about it, basically. Like, was this episode kind of an awkward step, just really filler that only served to introduce the lion? Or is there more to it that I'm just not seeing? Please definitely do let me know in the comments down below, and obviously leave some of your favorite parts, some of your annoyances if you have any, and also any of your favorite lines if you have any of those as well. But alright everyone, thank you for joining me for this episode of Discovering Steven Universe, and I will see you all next time for the next episode. Forgot to write the episode name down, but it will be in the end credits, so there you go. Alright everyone, again, thank you very much, and I will see you next time for the next Discovering Steven Universe. Alonzi!